Hello everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Manliness Venture. In this episode, we're going to be talking about tips to learn a new language. So as you know from last episode, I was traveling to Italy. Specifically, I was in this town called Lucca. So Lucca is a beautiful city in Tuscany. And it's pretty close to Pisa, so if you get a chance to go to Pisa, I definitely suggest you take a stop in Lucca. So as you can guess from the last video, when I was there, I thought, it'd be really cool to do a video here, and I wasn't really sure what to talk about. But then it dawned on me that speaking a new language is something that is really important. And if you want to know why it's important to learn a new language, go back and watch the previous video if you haven't done so already. In Italy, they drink a lot of coffee and they love their sweets. So for this episode, I went to a cafe to record. So here you go. Here are 8 tips and tricks to learning a new language. Cheers. Coffee here in Italy is amazing. And some delicious pie.
Man, this is straight up delicious.
Thing number 1 is free apps. So I use Duolingo, but there's multiple other ones out there. So with those, you can really practice the vocabulary, and that really helps. It really gets you going too. It's really easy to do. So where those apps fail, especially Duolingo, is that they don't explain the grammar, right? They don't explain why things work the way they work. So YouTube is a great resource for that. There's so many videos out there, and you can learn pretty much how to do anything on YouTube. So you can look up, for example, conjugate in the past, or how to conjugate in the future, or why it's this preposition as opposed to the other preposition. So if you just look that up, you can find multiple, especially for the main languages, like Spanish, German, and Chinese, French. All of those you can learn. You'll find lessons on YouTube. The third thing is get a book, right? I love the Whatever for Dummies series. So I have an Italian for Dummies, and it really explains the things really well. So, but you can't find it on YouTube, you can buy one of these books. And I'll have a bunch of links down below if you want to try any of the languages that are there. Portuguese, French, Italian, and Spanish. I will do German too. Can't forget the Germans. Those books are really incredible for simplifying and explaining it to you. Then tip number 4 is if you want to do more than all those things, you can try to find a class. Now you can find a class online. Now there's like a lot of places that are doing Skype lessons, so that would be pretty good. But look in your community college, and then look in language institutes around where you are, because then that really helps. Because you go and there's a teacher and there's other people that you can talk to that are also learning. Which leads us to the next tip, which is talking with somebody that speaks that language and talking in that language. Because the main difficulty, like I said, is going to be you actually talking. Because when you are just listening, the other person's coming up with the words. When you're talking, you have to remember the words and think about them, or think about a way to explain. But that's totally normal. You just got to do it. If you can't remember a word, try to figure out a way how to explain yourself instead of using that word. So good. Another tip is to read. Now, this is extremely important. You can look in newspapers, or maybe even trying to find like a kid's book. Not like a little kid's book, like pre-teens book. And that will really help. And just have your dictionary with you. I mean, most of the time we don't need a dictionary. Extra tip, Google Translate is fantastic to help learn.
You can really gain some knowledge when you read a book. You can stimulate your mind when you read a book.
All right, so new location, so make sure you're paying attention. This one's really important, writing. So basically what you want to do is write your thoughts down, right, in this new language. It can be super simple, and you can practice, making, for example, you can start with just sentences that are just statements, and then you can go on to things that you've done, or things that you're doing, things that you want to do, and kind of progress. Maybe what you can do is write whatever you'd want to say when you traveled to that place or met somebody from that place. Basically what writing does that's super important is it helps you think in the other language. To have a conversation with somebody, you gotta understand what they're saying, think about what you want to say, and then say it. Well, writing down will help you take your thoughts and put it in this other language. And it's really hard at first, but then it gets easy. But reading helps, because then you can see how the sentence structure works, and then you also learn new vocabulary.
If you ain't talking about money, you ain't talking about nothing. Cause me and my fidget ain't worried about nothing. Fidget, please, that's how you wanna live your life, your whole advice, not knowing how to read and write.
So besides reading, you can listen to. Now you can try the radio, but that might be too much in the beginning. What I would recommend is find like a cartoon that you like, and then try to find that in the language you're trying to watch, because cartoons are generally easier to understand because you can kind of understand what's happening through the animation, but also they're meant for kids, and so, you know, when you're learning, you're basically a kid in that language, and so that will really help. Just find something that you like. For example, I love Kung Fu Panda the movie, and so I started watching Kung Fu Panda in Italian.
Mítico!
And I also did Ninja Turtles, and it was actually really fun. It's a little kiddie, but it actually does really help. Then once you become a pro, then you can go to the radio or actual live action movies. Now I found it really hard to watch a movie that's dubbed, but maybe you have better luck. You can find movies that are made in the language, it's a little bit easier, but still that's almost fluency. There's some acting into it, so it could be more realistic in terms of like mumbling and things like that. Alright, so I'm back. There you have it, 8 tips and tricks to learning a new language. Download a free app, look for videos on YouTube, get a grammar book, and like I said, I have a bunch of links down below if you want to check those out. I highly encourage you to do that because these books are really helpful. 4, attend a class. 5, speak with somebody that speaks that language. 6, read 7 right. And last but not least, 8, listen to or watch something in that language. So now that you have this new knowledge, get at it, get learning, and man up!